let those folks in Cleveland County, Alabama know about this cell that is back in Alabama that is prompting a tornado warning right now. And it only includes that little small piece of Cleveland County, Alabama. The main part of this right now is back near Sylacauga, Alabama, where we have that rotation that is moving through. I'm going to take a look at velocity right now, and you can see what we're watching right here. Let me take the lightning off. And we're seeing in this area here some of the rotation near here, again, just south of Talladega, and that's pushing up into this part soon, of this part into areas of Cleveland County, Alabama. That's moving up toward the north and also to the east here. And while we're on, I know that a lot of people are a little concerned about this weather that's going to be moving into our area tonight. And maybe you have been looking back into Alabama and not seeing a lot of tornado warnings out there yet. Right now we have 3 of them, but it's not like we have 10 or 15 warnings in Alabama, but there are some warnings in Alabama, and this is all part of the system that is moving into our area through the rest of the evening hours and also into those overnight hours as well. There are a couple of other things we're watching too. Now, up ahead of this main line, we have been watching some what we call discrete cells that have been moving through parts of northwest Georgia. One of those right up here in the northern part of Gilmer County, pushing into Fannin County. We had a few other ones that were developing there in parts of Bartow County, Gordon County, and Pickens County a little bit earlier. So those are ahead of that main line, and this is the main line back in Alabama. That's where we're seeing the tornado warnings right now in Alabama. That main line is going to be pushing into West Georgia very soon. So even though this tornado warning is only for a very small part of Cleveland County in Alabama, again, part of our viewing area that we're responsible for, our viewing area does go over the state line. We're breaking in, number one, to let those folks in Cleveland County know about this potential tornado that is moving into their direction, but also to let you know that this is going to be just the beginning of these storms as they cross over the line into West Georgia and then eventually into the metro Atlanta area. We have 3 warnings back into Alabama right now. These 2 south of Birmingham, really between Montgomery and Birmingham, right along I-65. Those are 2 of the warnings, and then the one that was just issued for that area of Alabama there just south of Anniston, including near Talladega, going down to Sylacauga. This part right here is a tornado warning that is going to be moving into the far western and southern parts of Cleveland County, Alabama, and then eventually those storms are going to be moving into the West Georgia area tonight. Now, what's really interesting with this, we haven't had a lot of tornado warnings in Alabama yet. And if you're looking at that thinking, hey, you know, what's the deal? There's no outbreak there. Well, yes, there are some tornado warnings, not a lot of them, but don't let your guard down, because we still have a lot of the ingredients within our atmosphere that as these move into eastern Alabama and into West Georgia, where we could still see some of these storms ramping up. And that's even with us losing some of the afternoon heating. Now the sun has gone down, and we should start losing some of that afternoon heating. We didn't quite make it up to 80 today, but we did get up to 78 degrees. And so it's going to take a while for our atmosphere to cool off a little bit. But even with the absence of the sunshine and the absence of that afternoon heating, and we should see the temperatures coming down, it is still possible that these storms could still ramp up during the evening hours tonight. The afternoon heating is just one of the ingredients of what is needed for severe weather to occur. So just because we may be losing some of that afternoon heating this afternoon doesn't mean that these storms are just going to totally fall apart. So we still have to watch these very closely as we go through the rest of the evening hours tonight. Danielle Moss is with us right now. Danielle, I'm going to show the new tornado watch that's in effect. This is going to be in effect. I'm going to change that really quick to say it's 4 a.m. I believe now is the expiration time. But earlier, we did have a tornado watch for North Georgia. That is, are you editing
yes,
that? Okay.
Yes.
Danielle's editing that right now. So this part of North Georgia, this one, it is supposed to expire at 1 o'clock in the morning, but the National Weather Service just expanded and issued a new watch that's going to be in effect until 1 o'clock in the morning. That's about to change right there over my head. There we go, till 4 o'clock in the morning. This watch does include now the metro area and a big part of North Georgia, down to the south of us as well. So it does include
There's a new tornado warning.
A new tornado warning?
Yes.
All right, Danielle Moss is here with us right now as well. She is monitoring all these. This newest tornado warning is now for, okay, so this is up in Gilmer and Fannin. That is that discrete cell that I was just telling you about just a moment ago. So a brand new tornado warning. We're going to stay on air with you for a while to get you through these warnings. These are 2 counties. Many of you are familiar with this. This is just north of Ellijay in Gilmer County, moving northward up into Fannin County, a big part of our viewing area there as well. So in Atlanta, I know if you're trying to watch programming on 11Alive and you're like, why is he breaking in? This is nowhere near me. We have to let people know. 2 tornado warnings now. Yes, far north Georgia, and the other one is in western Alabama, moving into West Georgia soon, but we need to let everybody know what's going on. So here is the latest with that new tornado warning that was just issued that Danielle was just telling us about here. This is for northern parts of Fannin County, or Gilmer County actually. All right, this is Gilmer right here. Here's Ellijay, northern Gilmer. That's where we're seeing that rotation right now. Earlier, we were watching this storm and it had some mid-level rotation, but now it looks like that is coming down closer to the surface now, enough that the National Weather Service is going now with that tornado warning for northern Gilmer, and then this part of Fannin County right here. This is going to be in effect until 9:30. So we're going to stay on the air not only for this warning, but the other one that is back in Alabama for Cleburne County. I'll take you back to that one here in just a moment. But now that we have this brand new warning that is in effect there for this part here, all right, so there you see the red and the green, all right. This doesn't look particularly tight. However, this is far away from the radar site, so it may not look like your typical really tight rotation here. But where you see the red and the green here, we also are watching this part right down here, so 2 really areas of potential rotation. Let me get down to that bottom part here too. Both of those spots that we're watching right here, south of Higdon, and then this near Higdon, potential areas of rotation that we're watching. So here is Blue Ridge, there's Mineral Bluff. Danielle, I don't know if we want to get the Blue Ridge camera to see if we could kind of point that to the west. If we want to put that
also,
over.
as an update, they canceled the one for Cleburne.
Cleburne is canceled.
Yes.
Okay, good. We'll get to that in just a moment then. Danielle's here, of course, helping us. She's going to, and you'll see Danielle coming up here in just a second as well. But what we've got going on there is this warning. We're going to look at the Blue Ridge camera, see if we can kind of point that over to the west or southwest. We may have some buildings in the way, though, if we point it over to the west. But trying to see if, and it's dark, so it's going to be hard to see there as well, but watching for any type of rotation here just to the west of Blue Ridge, moving up toward the north, toward Higdon, and then eventually to McKaysville. Then it goes up to Tennessee and into North Carolina, crossing the Georgia line there. That is where we have that potential rotation. Now, let me go back to this one. Okay, so that's good there. So what Danielle just told us that she just got from the National Weather Service is that we still have that warning near Talladega in Alabama. But remember, just a moment ago, it included that little part of Cleburne County. That's why we broke into programming. Well, they've now taken Cleburne County out of the warning, but these counties next to it, Calhoun County, Clay County, and Talladega County, those counties next to it are still in it. So it's not like the rotation went away or anything, but they're just thinking that it's not going to impact Cleburne County. So that warning for Cleburne County is no longer in effect, but don't let your guard down for those folks over into parts of eastern Alabama. And also, I want you folks along the Georgia-Alabama line here in Carroll County, Haralson County, also into Polk County, moving down toward Heard County, Carroll Heard. Troop, not quite yet, but we have to watch these other storms in Alabama that have a couple of tornado warnings there south of Birmingham, because all of that is going to be pushing into our direction as we continue here through the rest of the evening hours and also going into the overnight. So I'm going to widen out, let you get your bearings. Here we are in Atlanta. We're fine here in Atlanta, all right? This is going to be a long night, folks, as we're watching this in Alabama move in. We are already seeing it in northwest Georgia. So even though we're fine here in Atlanta, over to the east of us, it's a nice night out there. Go ahead and get into your stay at home for the rest of the nighttime hours. If you know people who are out and about, tell them to come on home. Just be in your home tonight as these storms are going to be rolling through instead of being out and about, as we are seeing these tornado warnings develop. And even if we don't see rotation with these storms, we're going to have some strong wind and also some heavy rain with us too. So it would just be best to be in tonight here as we're watching. Here is the Blue Ridge camera that you see right now. Since it's dark, we can't really see any of that rotation. In fact, I'll put that up behind me here as well. And
it's got some pretty good lightning there.
Yeah, I just saw a couple of those flashes there, Danielle. So this is looking on the city of Blue Ridge, and that storm that has the potential rotation is west of Blue Ridge right now. We have heavy rain. We're most likely seeing some wind there that is blowing, but the rain is coming down, but nothing too out of the ordinary right now for you folks up in the Blue Ridge area. But the latest tornado warning, so again, we broke into programming for a tornado warning for Cleburne County. They have just taken Cleburne County out of that warning, but there is still rotation to the west of you. So in Cleburne and Randolph, I want y'all to still not let your guard down. We could see that rotation pushing into your county soon. The main thing we're watching is in far north Georgia right now, up north of Ellijay. This rotation that we're watching right now, the northern parts of Gilmer, all right? That's the far northern parts of Gilmer into Fannin right here. That area of red and yellow and orange that you see is a band of very heavy rain. These are what we call discrete cells up ahead of the main line. And as these discrete cells started developing, we were noticing some rotation within them in the mid-levels. But with this one, that rotation is kind of coming down a little bit more, possibly closer to the surface there. Again, the rotation that we're seeing here, we've got some reds and green right there. Okay, these latest scans are taking it about to cross over the line there into Tennessee and into areas of North Carolina would be over in this area right here. So those are the areas that we're watching right now with that rotation that is moving northward, really pushing out of the northern parts of Gilmer County right now, still over Fannin County, and then eventually it's going to push up into parts of Tennessee with that rotation there right now. I'm trying to look to see if we have any additional rotation there, that anything looks out of the ordinary, but as of right now, this warning is going to be in effect until 9:30 tonight, with those storms continuing to push on through. Now, when I wanted to come back and check on this, I didn't finish telling you guys about the tornado watch. I want to talk a little bit more about that. This tornado watch that has now been extended to include, actually that was a new watch, not an extension,
yes,
right?
It's a new watch.
Brand new watch. So we had one earlier that is still in effect for far northeast Georgia. That expires at 1 in the morning. The rest of us now are in a new watch that's going to expire at 4 o'clock in the morning. That does include the metro Atlanta area. So let's go down to the south first, take you to Butts County, all right? So I want to show you the outer fringes, or the far eastern part of this warning here. That includes Upson County. There you have Pike and Lamar County, Spalding County, Henry County, Rockdale County, DeKalb, Gwinnett, Hall County, up into areas of White County, and then into Union County, where we have, that's the eastern fringes of it. Everybody else to the west is included in this tornado watch until 4 o'clock in the morning. So you also may know that in Alabama, the tornado watch that was issued there is a PDS watch. That is a particularly dangerous situation. So that's for the watch in Alabama. Our watch, Danielle, just confirming, is a regular watch,
yes,
not a PDS. All right, this is a I don't want to say just a regular watch, but it's not a PDS watch. It's a regular tornado watch. Still be on alert, still be ready for any rotation within any of these storms that move on in during the evening hours, late evening hours tonight and overnight tonight. the atmosphere is conducive for rotation to develop, and we're already seeing some evidence of that happening out there right now. So yes, this tornado watch in effect, now including much of the metro area, again, as far to the east as the Rockdale County area. Gwinnett, you're in it. Hall County is in it. Henry County is in this watch. That line over to the west and in North Georgia is where we have, excuse me, this tornado watch that is in effect. I'm going to take you back to radar real quick. Danielle Moss is here with us tonight as well. Danielle, okay, so I just saw Danielle. They took Gilmer out.
Yes.
Okay, tell us about that there,
Yes.
what you're reading.
So they took Gilmer out of this tornado warning, and they have continued it for Fannin County. So same thing like you were saying, Chris. Basically, they're just watching this storm to see as it exits the Georgia state line there. It is moving northward right now.
Marcos, if you're hearing now, let's take Danielle over at the key here, if you can hear us there.
And
there we
it is
go.
moving, there it is. So now you're moving northward with this storm. I also have an update on Alabama, and I think this is very important to note because it is very close to Cleburne County. Just because they took you all out of that warning doesn't mean you're in the clear at all. And as you can see, if you're near there, Calhoun, Clay, and Talladega counties are all right there clumped together. And there's a lot of people that live in those areas. So you want to make sure that you are weather aware. Both of these storms are really far away from the radar. So what does that mean? That means that it's hard to really get a clear confirmation about the tornado. So whenever the National Weather Service sees any type of rotation in these storms, they're going to issue these warnings just as a precaution. And I think that's what happened when they issued the one in Cleburne. And if we zoom out a little bit and go back to the one in North Georgia, that's the one that we have our eye on right now in Fannin County. As of right now, they have removed Gilmer County from that tornado warning. And if you're paying close attention, earlier, Chris was showing you, we had a green little speck in that box, and now we're starting to see that moving northward. That's into Tennessee, into Ducktown, Tennessee. So soon for Fannin County, you should be getting ready to just have a breath. Just take a breath there, but that does not mean get out of your safe place. You need to be in your safe place for the rest of this evening. And like Chris said, they just updated this tornado watch, and that is new information. There's also a wind advisory in effect. So even though you might not be in a tornado warning, or you might not even be in that tornado watch, take it seriously. These winds are very high. We've been seeing multiple reports of trees down, and that's as this storm pushes through Alabama. So throughout Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, most of the major cities in Birmingham, even Huntsville, having loads of trees down, very large hail. So this storm system is packing a powerful punch as it moves eastward as well. And this wind advisory goes until 5 a.m. in the morning. So even after all these storms are gone, these winds will still be very, very high. So Chris, the good news is it looks like that storm is weakening just a little bit based off of the rotation that we're seeing. And I'll put in another look here at our radar so you can see exactly what this one storm cell looks like. It's very difficult. Once you get so far away from that radar site, you really can't see a pronounced look for what we look for on the radar. It has a little bit of a hook echo. We're not seeing that right now, and that's good news. That lets us know. That was the latest scan. You saw an update there. It's definitely pushing into Tennessee at this time. And as of right now, we're not really seeing any pronunciation. And Chris, they also just updated, for the Storm Prediction Center, updated our outlook for today as well.
Yeah, and I've got that just in here for you. This just came in just a moment ago. Marcos, if we can come back here to the Weather Center now. You'll notice here, if you've been watching us over the past couple of days, you might notice something new here. The level 5 of 5 risk back in Alabama has now been taken away. There's now no longer a level 5 of 5 risk there, but there is still a level 5 of 5 risk, level 4 of 5 risk for areas of Alabama, as well as West Georgia, still in the level 4. The only thing that changed here from the Storm Prediction Center is that they've taken out parts of North Georgia out of this level 4 risk. But again, the level 4 risk continues for parts of West Georgia, including Rome. Now again, don't really depend on these the cutoff spots there and like, oh my goodness, my county's in a 4, but next door it's just in a 3. Does that mean we're not going to have anything? These are just general areas. All right, so don't get caught up on where the county lines are and where this exact cutoff is. Generally, west of Atlanta, in West Georgia, back into Alabama, that is the level 4 risk, meaning we still have a chance for some of these storms to get strong. we could still see some damaging wind. We could still see some tornadoes with that. We have seen rotation that was in or north, just south and west of Cleveland County a little while ago. We're keeping an eye on that cell to see if it ramps up anymore and moves into western Georgia. So everybody in West Georgia especially, still be aware. Don't let your guard down. Be aware of this as these storms move in from Alabama and into West Georgia. Then also metro Atlanta northward and over to the east toward Athens, down to the Macon area. Level 3 is still a pretty high risk area to be in as those storms come in later on tonight. We also have that potential for these cells to turn strong with the potential for some rotation there and also some damaging winds. So let's get another look now. I know this is look at that polygon. That's really small. This warning still is supposed to be in effect until 9:30. However, I really would not be surprised if this cell, Danielle, don't you think that this might be out of the polygon area before 9:30 gets here? So if this cell, and in fact, we're seeing these later scans here pushing up into Tennessee, we might be able to take you back to regular programming if that warning is canceled earlier or if that area of potential rotation that we see.
Another thing to note, Chris, is that our National Weather Service office is also backing up Birmingham because they are sheltering because of a tornado warning that is literally over their office right now. So because of that, the Birmingham office is in shelter under their desk, and our Peachtree City office is backing them up. So they might not cancel that warning a little bit early. We were talking about the tornado environment, right? What can we see later on? I think this is very important for you all to see because a lot of people are thinking it might not even be raining where you are. It might not even be high winds, but that does not mean that you should let your guard down. This is our tornado environment. This is what we look at to see how is the ingredients working together to see if these storms are going to continue to stay together and to be strong. Like Chris was saying earlier, if you've been watching our live streams, it hasn't been as aggressive as we thought it was going to be initially, but our tornado environment is still very telling that later on tonight, in fact, in the next 2 hours or so, we can start to see some of these storms really take effect, including in North Georgia, where we've been seeing those tornado watches. They were in effect earlier this evening. And even off into West Georgia, we still have some really ripe environment for some of these storms to progress. Even as we look towards 1 a.m. in metro Atlanta, it's a lower risk for a tornado environment. You're not seeing that hot pink color, but it's still enough to make us wonder. We have to continue to stay with you all. We'll continue to stream and let you all know what the latest is. But take a look at this. As we advance it even further, around 5 o'clock a.m., that tornado environment gets weaker. So as the storms continue to push off to the east, it looks like we will start to see them weakening. But as of right now, Chris, this is just the beginning of it for us here in Georgia.
And good news, Danielle, we just had a cancellation of that warning, the tornado warning that was up in Fannin County. So this is all that's left of it right now between Mineral Bluff and Turtletown. The National Weather Service is canceling that warning. And let me just tell you what they were saying, that it's now moving out of the warned area, and it also has decreased in intensity. It's no longer classified as a severe storm or as a tornado warned storm. So what we're going to do is we're going to take you back to your regularly scheduled programming. Before I do that, I just want to give you a summary of what we are watching right now as the 2 tornado warnings that we had, one in Cleveland County, Alabama, that was also canceled. The other one in Fannin and Gilmer County, as that moved to the north, it weakened. That warning is no longer in effect. So no warnings in effect right now for Georgia, for our viewing area, but we still have these storms back in Alabama that are prompting warnings, and especially this one right here, they may trigger another warning for Cleveland County because if that rotation still holds together there. So what we're going to do, and remember, I'm going to show you too the tornado watch. We have a tornado watch that is in effect here for the metro Atlanta area, North Georgia, West Georgia, and east of Atlanta. All of these counties in yellow that you see right here, this is going to be in effect until 4 o'clock this morning. So Danielle and I are still watching this. Melissa Nord is going to be out in our weather impact tracker. She'll have live reports for us throughout the evening hours, and then especially tonight at 11 o'clock as well. So even though we are leaving you right now on air on 11 Alive, stay with us as we are going to continue streaming on 11Alive Plus. You can find that on your TV. If you have Roku, Fire, or Apple TV, you can download, go and search for the 11Alive app. Download that. You can watch our continuing coverage. So even though you're not seeing Danielle and me on your television on 11Alive, we are continuing our coverage streaming right now. Download the 11Alive app on your television. You can continue to watch us there. If you can't find that app on your television, also you can find us still streaming at our website at 11alive.com. So stay with us. We will break in again to programming if any new warnings are issued or if we see anything threatening out there that we need to break in to tell you about here on 11Alive. So keep it right here with the 11Alive Weather Impact Team. Streaming right now. I'm going to start going here and I want to make sure that you all can see us. Okay, we are back up on streaming right now. Look at that. Right when I'm talking to you, we had a big lightning strike here over in the Blue Ridge area, or lightning flash in the Blue Ridge area. So what we've been doing here, we just did a cut in on 11Alive, and even though we're no longer on the TV side of it, we want to continue our streaming here on 11Alive Plus so that you can see what we're watching out there. We just had 2 tornado warnings, one that was in effect in Cleburne County, Alabama. The other one was in effect in Gilmer and Fannin County in North Georgia. Those both weakened, and we no longer have any warnings for those areas that we're responsible for in the Atlanta, what we call our ADI, or our area of domain here, of our television viewing area. And if you've been watching us and saw us cut in on 11Alive on TV, and you're like, wait a minute, why are they on TV? There's nothing going on here in Atlanta. We have a large viewing area, and it's our responsibility to let folks know, even across the state line here in Cleburne and in Randolph County, Alabama, if they have a warning issued. And of course, up in Gilmer County and Fannin County, that is what is left there of that cell that prompted a tornado warning there north of Ellijay earlier, moving up toward Higdon in parts of Fannin County. That is now crossed out of the state of Georgia. It's up right along the North Carolina-Tennessee line right now, and the Weather Service was saying that it was no longer classified as severe and no longer exhibiting any rotation. That's why they allowed that warning to be canceled, all right, before the expiration time that was supposed to be at 9:30. So we're now back with you on streaming, as we are just going to, Danielle and I are just going to kind of walk you through what we are seeing out there right now with these storms, that really this is just the beginning of the strong storms that are moving in from Alabama. We already have some in northwest Georgia, and the ones back in Alabama have a history of rotation and tornado warnings. And I want you to look at this. Back in Alabama, we have a few other warnings. Now, this warning from Winterboro up close to Anniston that crosses over I-20 here near the Anniston area. This is the one that prompted the tornado warning for Cleburne County in Alabama, but they took Cleburne County out of it. So that's why, why we did not have the warning there anymore. We still have a little bit of rotation up really close to I-20 here, and if they decide to put Cleburne County back in a warning, we'll come back on the air. But this is what we're watching there. But we also have more to the west. This is near Birmingham and to the east of Birmingham, 2 other tornado warnings here near Winterboro, and to the west of Winterboro, going down toward Clanton, Alabama. We have additional warnings there. Those storms there are exhibiting some signs of rotation, and we have multiple tornado warnings there between Birmingham and Montgomery, and also east of Birmingham. So we have to watch those storms. I'm going to put this into motion for you, because what's happening is the individual cells are moving up toward the north and the east, but the entire line is moving this way. So you've got a line moving this way, but the cells in that line are moving up like this. So everything is pushing closer to West Georgia. And that kind of goes along with the timeline that we've been telling you, that late during the evening hours tonight, West Georgia would be dealing with these storms pushing in from Alabama, and then would eventually move into the metro Atlanta area once we get into the later night hours tonight and overnight hours too. And even though we're losing some daytime heating, there's still enough instability with them and the ingredients needed with shear with it and lift that we have, the moisture that we have, those ingredients that we need for any rotation to develop. So that's what we still have with these storms back in Alabama. And we think that that may hold together, especially moving into West Georgia as we go through the next few hours here, as these storms slowly start pushing closer to us. So as of right now, I really want you folks in Cleveland County and Randolph County, you may be first to have some tornado warnings before maybe we might have some warnings for possibly Polk, Haralson, or Carroll County, or down into Heard County, all right? Some of these also may move up closer to Floyd and also into the Polk County area too. So this is the part we're watching, moving up into this direction. Not only are we watching those spots, but we could also see newer cells develop with rotation that could also prompt additional tornado warnings. So it's not just this that we're watching, all right? We can see some other cells anywhere along this line that we could see some rotation developing there that could trigger additional tornado warnings here as that entire system moves in. I'm going to show you the bigger picture so you guys can see what we're watching, kind of with the whole structure of everything that's rolling through the southeast. The red color you see here, this is the newest tornado watch that's in effect until 4 in the morning, all right? So you see that here going down, including the rest of Alabama, even down into the Florida Panhandle. Those are the warnings that I was just showing you there along and south of I-20 near Birmingham and just north of Montgomery. And then there are some other cells here coming out of Mississippi and in the southern parts of Alabama. Those are prompting some tornado warnings too. So along that entire part of Alabama, Alabama has some pretty active weather there going on now with rain, tornado warnings that are developing, and then this goes up into northern Alabama too and into Tennessee. We've got a tornado warning up here north of Chattanooga in Tennessee and a severe thunderstorm warning. So a very large boundary of rain and storms moving through the entire southeast that gives us that potential for severe weather to move through, and also that potential for strong thunderstorms, possibly severe thunderstorms, and tornado warnings that could be occurring here as these are getting closer and closer to West Georgia. And Danielle Moss is going to join us right now. Danielle, we've got that tornado watch. We had the one earlier in northwest Georgia. Now the new one until 4 o'clock in the morning that does now include the Atlanta area.
Yes, exactly. And that has been the latest update within the last hour or so. And Chris, I wanted to point out too, there's a lot of stuff happening in Alabama. We've had the National Weather Service in Birmingham. They had to shelter in place. They've since been able to get out from under their desk because there was a tornado warning right on top of them. Also, the Jacksonville State and Liberty championship game has been delayed in Huntsville because they are cleaning the floor from the rain that's leaking into the stadium there. So there's a lot of weather-related things that are happening in Alabama right now. And another thing to point out, as these storms have been passing through, because it's been so dry outside, we've heard multiple reports of grass fires and brush fires being started when power lines go down. So these are just all things that you have to take in consideration as you're waiting for these storms to arrive. But like Chris said, a lot of us aren't even seeing rainfall right now. In fact, as we were talking about West Georgia and Carrollton, they're seeing a lot of lightning, but no rainfall right now. And that's very important if you're talking about updates as far as severe weather because you are anticipating it and you know that it is coming your way. This is a look at the latest tornado watch. Once again, earlier it was just for Northwest Georgia. Now you can see it has been expanded and it does include Metro Atlanta, and it's until 4 a.m. on Sunday. Now, as these storms come through, they are going to be powerful. And I've been telling people that have been asking me on Facebook and on social media, what should we do? What if there's not a tornado warning? I've been telling people to treat it as if it was. Even though we don't have any warnings right now, make sure you're away from those windows. It's 9:29 right now. You might be getting ready to go to sleep, get prepared for your Sunday. Just make sure you're away from those windows. Get into your safe place. Go ahead and be prepared in case we see some trees coming down. You don't want to be near those windows, even if we're just talking about wind damage. And that's one thing that has been very prominent with this storm system. Multiple reports of trees down. So a lot of rainfall coming in, and it looks like some of the rain is moving slower than anticipated. So a lot of places are seeing some flood watches and flood warnings as well. So just make sure that you are aware that those winds could be high. In fact, here's a look at that wind advisory that's in effect until 5 a.m. on Sunday. You can see that includes a larger portion of our viewing area. So even though some people might have that wind advisory and not be in the tornado watch, so you're seeing different threats, different things that we are keeping our eye on, and there's a lot to keep our eye on right now. In fact, here's a look at our current wind gusts. I think this is very important to note as well. Right now here in Metro Atlanta, there's a 30-mile-an-hour wind gust. Carrollton, 39-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So those winds are coming, and people are reporting them in our National Weather Service chat that they are seeing the lightning, they are hearing the thunder, and the winds are increasing, but the rainfall just has not started yet. So very important to note here that the winds are definitely high, and as this storm system continues to push off to the east, we're going to see them increase. In fact, let's walk through some of these wind gusts right now over the next few hours. Around 2 a.m., Peachtree City could have 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts. This is going to be your main line of storms right there that you can see across your screen. Duluth maybe having a 36-mile-an-hour wind gust, and Blairsville having a 45-mile-an-hour wind gust. Wind gusts are important to go through because if you have a 45-mile-an-hour wind gust in Blairsville that has already seen a lot of rainfall, that could definitely push down some trees. That could definitely cause some power outages. So all of this information very useful as you prepare for the rest of your night, especially when you're talking about 2 o'clock in the morning, where a lot of people are going to be sleeping. A lot of people aren't going to be awake. They're going to be preparing for the next day. Some people might even work overnight. So you need to prepare as necessary and for your lifestyle and for your family as well. Make sure the kiddos are aware that at 2 o'clock on a Saturday, while they might be playing video games, they need to be prepared in a safe place and charging those phones now in case there are any power outages. Another update that we've had very recently is our severe threats for tonight. As you can see, they've scaled back that level 5 threat, which is good news, but we are still in a level 4. So if you are in that level 4 range, you need to be prepared because some of these storms could be very powerful. And even if you're in level 3 or in a level 2 over in East Georgia, some of these storms could still be on the stronger side. So it's very important that you know exactly what you need to do and where you need to go in case some of these storms get really strong overnight. Here's another look at our radar right now, and most of that activity is back off to our west. And as we take a closer look here, just Northwest Georgia right now, Chris, seeing that rainfall and a little bit of lightning and some of those high winds right now.
And that's still going to be pushing into our area tonight as we're watching those storms that are in Northwest Georgia now. More of that, though, back into Alabama. That's still going to be pushing into North Georgia. Now, something that's interesting here, look at the bottom of your screen. You see the temperature is 75. That is still very mild. Our high today was 78 degrees, and even though we've come down just a few degrees, let me show you some of these temperatures around North Georgia right now. We're at 75 in Atlanta. We have 72 in Duluth and Gainesville, 75 in Peachtree City, still 76 in Marietta. So, you know, we often talk about daytime heating, and when these storms were moving through Alabama, it was in, okay, did you see that lightning there? This is our roam camera up that we have right here. We're getting some good flashes of lightning there and some rain. I'm going to show that to you here in just a second, but you can kind of see that here on the side as we're watching those storms and that rain ramping up a little bit more in Rome. But Those storms that we had earlier today in Alabama that were prompting the tornado warnings were in the heat of the day. We still have tornado warnings there. Even though the sun has set, it is still really warm. It's not like when the sun sets, it just drops down to 60 or anything really quickly and our air stabilizes. It's just going to be a slow process. And so even though the sun has been down for a little while now, we are still just 3 degrees lower than the high. So it's not like we're losing a lot of heating here from the afternoon now into the evening hours. These temperatures are still very mild, and that will help some of these storms coming into Alabama hold on to some of their strength. Now, if we see these temperatures continuing to fall and we do lose part of that recipe for severe weather, with one of those ingredients being the afternoon heating, that may help to kind of tick down some of these storms. And we're hoping the fact that these move in late night and overnight will make them less strong for us than what they have in Alabama. But that's just going to be the slow process that we're watching here for the rest of the nighttime hours tonight. Let me go back to radar though, so you can see what Danielle was talking about with those showers and storms that are still over northwest Georgia. And we've been getting some pretty good rain. There's Rome. I was showing you the lightning strikes here. I'm going to put this up so you can see it behind me just a little bit better instead of the small monitor behind me. Let me get this going here for you. Rome is in this one right here. There we go. So we've got the flags blowing with the wind there in Rome. You can see the raindrops within this too, with that rain that is coming down. And just even in this light here, the street light, you can see those bits of rain coming by, as well as there in the sky in front of the camera there, between the camera and those flags, those pockets of heavy rain and that strong wind that is moving through Rome right now. So West Georgia, you're going to get more of the impactful weather first before it moves into Metro Atlanta. And West Georgia all along has been a little more favored for these stronger storms. Atlanta, yes, we think they will still be strong for us, but maybe not as strong as in Alabama and West Georgia, and then weakening a little bit more as it goes to the east of the Atlanta area. But here you can see not only those storms there in northwest Georgia, but now look right here. South of Rome, here you see Polk County, Haralson County, Carroll County, Heard County, and Troup counties. That's right there. Those are the counties right along the Georgia-Alabama line, and go over into Alabama, and you see Cleburne County and also Randolph County. So that warning, the tornado warning that we had near Cleburne County that was lifting up into the Anniston area, that warning was also for Talladega County as well. That warning has been canceled. So not only was Cleburne County dropped out of that tornado warning, now that entire warning is no longer in effect. We still have, though, the warning that we have left is over there south of Birmingham. So, and then we have a green polygon right here saying that there's a flood warning in effect too. So not only are we seeing the rotation, not only are we seeing the heavy rain, but it's enough rain that's not moving out very quickly that is causing some of that water to pile up and go into low-lying areas and cause some flooding. So they have a flash flood warning there in that same area where there's a tornado warning. But this is the only warning that we have still here left. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit tighter to that so we can see what we're talking about. Now again, I know we don't live in Birmingham, we don't live in Alabama, but this is just something that we're watching because it's Shelby County, Alabama is the county that is in that warning right now, if you're familiar with that or if you have a family over there. And let me look at the velocity mode with this too, just to see. Okay, that doesn't look, okay, there's a little rotation still within that, but doesn't look too concerning right now. So it'll be interesting to see how long that warning is going to stay in effect. It's supposed to be in effect until 9 o'clock Central Time, which would be 10 o'clock our time. So we're going to keep an eye on that just to see if that warning holds together and to see if any additional warnings are going to be issued here with those storms. Again, our responsibility in our Atlanta viewing area, we are also responsible for alerting people in Cleburne County, Alabama, and into Randolph County, Alabama. The TV signal doesn't just stop at the state line there, so we're responsible for them. If any of these storms trigger any new warnings here into Cleburne and Randolph, we'll be breaking into programming again on 11 Alive, and then watching if any West Georgia counties will be included in any tornado warnings, again, as that area of rain continues pushing into West Georgia. And then after that, the metro area would be next in line, again, waiting to see if any rotation still develops out of that, as we are now seeing the sun setting, temperatures trending down just a little bit, not dropping, just really coming down just a few degrees as we're losing just a little bit of that afternoon heating from earlier today, with those temperatures that weren't quite up to 80, but near 80, topping off at 78 degrees here this afternoon. Here in Metro Atlanta, we're fine. No rain here yet. We were telling people all along, try to get back home around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the evening tonight, and just stay at home as we're watching these storms moving through, not actually be out driving around as this rain moves in, especially as we get closer to 11 o'clock. Midnight, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning here for the metro area. That's when these storms are going to be bearing down on us, and at any time we could see rotation developing out of that for the late night hours tonight and overnight too. We still think that by 3, 4 in the morning, these storms are going to be out of the Atlanta area, still impacting those of you on the east side over toward Athens and down toward Lake Oconee. But there you go. See some of that more lightning there. There's some good lightning there in the Rome area. And speaking of that, I've been taking the lightning off of our radar maps just so that you can see the reflectivity a little bit better. Here, let me put the lightning back on, and you can see all of the lightning here in association with these storms. And I'm going to do a lightning count for the entire state of Alabama, including all of that down to the south, over into Georgia here. There are more than 1,800, almost 1,900 lightning strikes in a 15-minute period. That's not just all night long. This is 1,900, almost 1,900 lightning strikes in a 15-minute period, but it does cover 2 states. But look at all of this lightning that we're seeing there, and what you were just seeing up in the Rome area were a few of those lightning strikes that were up there too. Let's get back closer to Georgia, and we'll do a count just on, let's do a query here, just on starting in northwest Georgia, kind of overlapping the line just a little bit, including Cleburne and Randolph, and going through North Georgia. So what we're seeing in northwest Georgia here and West Georgia, see these strikes here coming up toward Rome and into northwest Georgia, about 24 lightning strikes in a 15-minute period. So the bulk of that lightning right now is mainly back into Alabama. So all of that is going to be pushing our way tonight too. So not only are we watching the heavy rain, we're watching the potential for rotation, but with the amounts of lightning like this, we could see some lightning fires. We could see lightning strike a tree that may fall that could cause some power outages. So there are a lot of impacts from this storm system for tonight that we are definitely going to have to be watching. Of course, that main thing, the main concern that a lot of people have is, are we going to see any tornadoes that'll be pushing into our area? Here is a live look here at radar. This is the loop actually right here for the metro area, and we're actually pretty good. As you go out to I-20 to Douglas County, a couple little showers there. Paulding County seeing the rain, Bartow light rain, that heavier rain that was in Rome, and then if you go out I-20 closer to the Alabama line there into Cleburne and Randolph, all right, that's where we're beginning to see some other storms that are moving into Cleburne right here. Randolph is right here. This is all about to move in from Talladega, Sylacauga, Anniston. That's moving up into this direction. Cleburne and Randolph, you're next, and then we would have Polk County, Haralson County, Carroll, and Hurd. Okay, there's a new warning that just popped up there. Gosh, Danielle, that was right, pretty much the same
thing
looking polygon that we had earlier. This one does not include Cleburne, but really, here, let's put this into live mode.
Almost identical to
that
the one that
polygon,
we had.
Go ahead, and if you're seeing any information there. Go ahead and tell us about this one over there from Childersburg up to Talladega.
Yes. So this is a new tornado warning for Talladega County in Alabama. And what's happening is, Chris, I've been watching these storms because it's very interesting. The one in Shelby County, Alabama, that you were talking about earlier is near Calera. So if you are familiar with Alabama, that is a very large town. And we're starting to see some damage reports there and possibly some injuries reported. They had several tornado warnings in this same area. This new tornado warning is for a separate storm. What's happening is this is almost like a cluster of storms, and you're starting to see them kind of recycle amongst themselves, so kind of weaken and then regain strength as they're pushing up northward. So as of right now, this new tornado warning does not include Cleburne, but very, very close. If you're watching us on air about 30 minutes ago, then you know that this polygon is drawn almost identical to that one. So the latest information on this storm says it is a radar indicated severe thunderstorm that's capable of producing a tornado. It was located over Winterboro or 7 miles east of Childersburg, moving northeast at 60 miles an hour. So this is a radar indicated storm. What that basically means is that this storm is strong enough to produce a tornado. Does not mean that it has, but just from the likelihood of these storms in this same area, which means that the storm conditions are definitely likely to see some of these stronger storms really populate a potential for a tornado or even really high winds. We're starting to see that happen in the same area. And also, what's really horrible for this area is it is very far away from the radar site. So sometimes when we say that, that just means that it's just too far away for us to investigate properly. So sometimes the National Weather Service has to issue some of these warnings to just kind of give it a heads up of, hey, this might actually be happening, but we're not sure. And this is a look at that. In fact, this one is actually showing some pretty it's confusing, I know. So what we look for is the red and the green kind of meeting together. As of right now, because it is so far away from the radar site, you see that purple coming in between, and that's why we're seeing that purple there. But that's another reason why they issued that tornado warning, because it is so far. And this warning goes until 9:15, and that second warning is supposed to expire at 9 o'clock. You also have to remember that they are on Central Time, so it's 9:45 Eastern Time. So that would be 10 o'clock our time and 10:15 for your Eastern Time in Talladega. So I wouldn't be surprised, Chris, honestly, if they continue to extend this warning, because it has the nature of continuing to be strong. Sometimes what we do, we investigate these storms ourselves, right? We go through all of these different graphics and we try to see what's happening, what's the storm activity, what are we looking for. So right now it's on pause. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on a loop so we can see how these storms are progressing. Now this is different, right? Earlier, what we saw in Fannin County was a single isolated storm, a discrete cell that was pushing northward, and you could see exactly how strong that storm is. This one that we're looking at right now is literally a part of an entire system. So it's hard to tell where the strongest part of that storm is. Another reason why we start to see some of these tornado warnings happening. But what I can say is this storm system is pushing northward. So something that you have to keep your eye on if you are north of Talladega. If you are in Cleburne County in Alabama, I would say stay in your safe place at this time so that you know exactly when this storm is coming. In fact, in the next few hours or so, we could start to see some of this environment weakening just a little bit. But as of right now, Chris, I think that people need to continue to stay in their safe place in Cleburne County, because I wouldn't be surprised if you see that warning extended once again. I
totally agree, Danielle, because that warning that is just to the west of Cleburne is, as you mentioned, pretty much a similar polygon to what we had a little bit earlier, and that moved up to the north and east. But we're now seeing a little better, that rotation that we saw earlier seemed to be pretty weak, and they actually allowed that warning to not only be canceled for Cleburne County, but they also canceled it for all of the counties a little bit after that, because the bit of rotation that was there was not exhibiting rotation anymore. But that warning is a PDS warning in Alabama. Okay, so that means a particularly dangerous situation there in that area near Winterboro and Talladega, where they're saying that is a PDS tornado warning. That means particularly dangerous situation. and that is a significant tornado warning there. We don't know if that warning here, well, it says confirmed tornado located over Winterboro or 7 miles southwest of Talladega, moving northeast at 55 miles an hour. It is a radar confirmed tornado there, and a damaging tornado that is over in those areas near just southwest of Talladega. So that is the area that Danielle was telling you about. Now, we're streaming right now. Danielle and I are kind of seeing these things and seeing these new and bringing them to you as we see them as well. So this is what we're watching. She was showing you this part of it near Talladega as a tornado warning there. Here's Cleburne and here's Randolph County. So this is moving up this way. This may, or this particular part of that rotation may stay just to the west of Cleburne, but we're going to hold on and see if they're going to issue any warning for Cleburne County, Alabama. And if so, we're going to be going online, or actually on air on 11Alive for any additional warnings there. But we're not only watching Cleburne County. If this goes up here in this direction, would it be able to impact Floyd County or Polk County? So that's what we're going to be watching, again, if that even holds together. But don't get caught up just on that one warning that is there. There's actually another one back to the north and west of Montgomery. So it's all this area right here where we're seeing those strongest part of the storms. And just because we have rotation there, that's not that doesn't mean that's going to be the only rotation that develops. So you've got a little bit more back here. We could see rotation developing in any of this part of the structure of the storm, or really in any part of any of this rain back in Alabama, especially moving into West Georgia as these storms continue to push here in this direction. So again, in Atlanta, we're fine. We're not seeing any rain here yet. We're saying yet because these storms that we're watching in Alabama, first are going to hit Cleburne and Randolph, then they're going to move into West Georgia for those areas of Polk, Haralson, maybe Floyd, Heard, Troup counties. We'll be watching that tier of counties first. Then they move into some West Metro counties like Paulding County, Douglas County, Coweta County, then South Fulton, Central Fulton, Cobb potentially, Fayette, Clayton County. So this entire area of rain is what we are going to have to watch here very closely, pushing into parts of West Georgia and then eventually here into the metro Atlanta area. And this has pretty much been moving along, excuse me, with the timeline that we were telling you about over the past few days, talking about that main part moving out of Alabama into northwest and West Georgia during the evening hours here, and then getting closer to Atlanta, maybe closer to 11 o'clock, between 11 and 2 or 3 in the morning, pushing through the area. And that is pretty much what we're seeing here so far with how these storms are playing out over to the west of us, pushing into parts of West Georgia as well. So the next step that we're watching is whether or not we see a tornado warning for Cleburne and Randolph counties, and then if any of that would extend over the state line into Georgia, into West Georgia, from Rome down toward Carrollton, and then south of I-20 as well to parts of Heard County and also Troup County down toward LaGrange. It's going to take a while for all of this to be moving into and possibly crossing over the state line, and then eventually that would push into the Atlanta area as well later on tonight. And some of those could still be strong. They could still develop some rotation there, even though we're going to be losing some of the afternoon heating here again during those evening hours. I want to take you back to that tower cam up in Rome. I just saw some lightning there from the monitor that you see right here, but I want to show it to you on this bigger picture here so you can see the flags blowing. The rain is still coming down, still pretty heavy at times. Every once in a while we are seeing those flashes of lightning that really light up the sky here. There's one of those right there. So you're most likely hearing thunder right now in Floyd County. And a lot of this is lightning from a distance. Let's go back here to radar, and we'll be able to see there in Floyd County. Here, I'm going to put the lightning back on. And so it's not a lot of lightning here in Rome, but so we're looking west. So it could have been this lightning strike that illuminated the sky. We also have these other lightning strikes to the east that, again, at night, you can see lightning light up the sky, even if it's really far away. And then even more of that lightning over to the west in those spots near in Alabama, from Fort Payne, stretching down to Cedar Bluff, to Gadsden, to Anniston. And again, even more of a cluster of lightning there from Anniston south down toward Montgomery. I want to do a lightning count just on this part right here in Alabama. There we go on that strongest part. And I'm going to stop it right there at the West Georgia line. So now 1,900 lightning strikes, more than 1,900 lightning strikes in a 15-minute period, not even including the strikes that are in Georgia or even up into Tennessee. All of this cluster right here back in Alabama, very electric storms there with almost 2,000 lightning strikes in a 15-minute period with all of those storms that are moving through. So that just kind of goes to show you how intense those storms are as they continue to move through. So 2 tornado warnings still active in Alabama. We have this one on the kind of tail end of this part of the storms here, Maplesville down to near Selma. I think the rotation now with that is north of Selma, Alabama, pushing up closer to Maplesville right here. That's all south of Calera. Again, here's Montgomery here. So this is kind of north, really west-northwest of Montgomery. Birmingham's right here, so this is south of Birmingham. This is going to be moving pretty much in a same trajectory as these storms that continue to move this way. But again, the entire system is moving over toward the east, and that eventually is going to be crossing over the state line. And our Western Georgia counties most likely are going to be impacted by some of these storms with that potential rotation, heavy rain. You see the green polygon here? South of Birmingham, really between Birmingham and Montgomery, this is a flash flood warning. So those storms have enough heavy rain with them, and it looks like these storms are training over the same areas too. So you get rounds and rounds of heavy rain just continuing to dump on the same people there, and that's why they have issued the flash flood warnings there too. So it may be that some areas of West Georgia could see some of that heavy rain training as they cross over into our state too. So no warnings over our area here in Metro Atlanta or really in North Georgia at all. We are waiting to see if Cleburne and Randolph County are going to be included in any warnings there, and there is the potential for some warnings to extend even into West Georgia and into Atlanta. Here's that tornado watch that's in effect until 4 o'clock in the morning. That is in effect for West Georgia, into Metro Atlanta, and just to the east of the city. On the east side, it includes DeKalb, Rockdale, Henry, Spalding, Pike, Lamar, and Upson counties here. And then north of I-20, the far eastern extension of that is Gwinnett County, Hall County, White County, Union County, that line over toward the west. All of those counties you see in yellow, those are the counties that are included in this tornado watch until 4 o'clock this morning here. So it is going to be a long night as we watch this line move through. At any time, these storms will not only have heavy rain and lightning and strong winds, but at any time, we could see rotation developing out of it. And this line of storms has a history of producing rotation, and that's why we've had multiple tornado warnings that have been issued there. Danielle, did you see, I think the Weather Service is trying to confirm, the emergency manager up in Gilmer is mentioning potentially, now a lot of times you get reports from the public saying that a tornado came through, and it doesn't necessarily mean there was a tornado there, but it does kind of line up with where we had the tornado warning. I believe it was near Stop Gap Road.
Yes.
Do I have the name right?
Yeah, Chestnut Gap Road.
Chestnut Gap Road up there. So let us know what else you're seeing on that.
While you were talking, they said that the units in the area report minor debris but no major damage.
That's what I was curious about, as to whether or not it was somebody just saying, hey, we had a tornado, whether it was a tornado or not. That doesn't mean it was confirmed, but I was curious to see if there was any damage that was evidence of that. So some minor damage there, up in parts of Gilmer County, actually up into Fannin County in those areas with that. And that was the storm that we were tracking a little bit earlier that did prompt the tornado warning there too. So Danielle, no, it's still there. Okay, I didn't know. I think this warning maybe is a little bit smaller.
Yes, they downsized the polygon there, but it's still the same threats. They just downsized the polygon a little bit.
Still exhibiting some rotation there in Talladega. Let me show you the velocity mode, and I'm going to take lightning off so you can see. And what Danielle was saying earlier. Okay, so we are seeing maybe right here between Talladega and Lincoln, in this part right here. This is south of Anniston. So if you ever are driving out I-20 from Atlanta to Birmingham, you may be familiar with, of course, going through Douglas County into areas of Carroll County, also Haralson County, crossing the state line into Cleburne County. Then there's Anniston, Talladega. If you're ever driving along I-20, you can look over south of I-20 and you can see the actual racetrack there, and then you get over into closer to the Birmingham area. So this is where we're watching right now, really near Talladega. Actually, this rotation that we're seeing really wouldn't be far from the racetrack right now, because that's really close to I-20.
Yeah, because the racetrack is right south of Lincoln.
Yeah, there. It's right in this area right here. So that rotation that we're seeing really wouldn't be far from the racetrack. So that we're watching this because depending on where that rotation goes, it might slide up toward Anniston, but this is really close to the Cleburne County line. And we'll see if it's just going to keep going this way, and it may bypass Cleburne County. But if it does do that, it also might then make its way on up toward Polk County and Floyd County there in West Georgia, if that holds together. We also have the other warning, which is now near Clanton and just to the south and to the west of Clanton. Sorry, I'm just looking to make sure we don't have any new information in right now. Another warning here, and then a severe thunderstorm warning there too, and a flash flood warning. So that just goes to show you these storms are active. These storms are producing a lot of rain, producing wind, and we are seeing those storms exhibiting some signs of rotation as well. So here we are at the top of the hour. I kind of want to reset a little bit right now. Thank you for joining us here on 11Alive Plus, where we have our continuing streaming coverage. We did cut into programming on 11Alive a little bit earlier. We had 2 tornado warnings. One was in Cleburne County, Alabama. We had another warning that was up in Gilmer and Fannin County as that storm moved from Gilmer up through Fannin and then moved up into parts of Tennessee. It weakened, but we are hearing from the emergency manager in Fannin County that they do have some damage there. It doesn't sound like, Danielle, that it's really widespread damage, but just some isolated areas of damage. We do not know if that was a confirmed tornado or not there in those areas. So no warnings here in Metro Atlanta, no warnings in North Georgia and West Georgia either, but we are just now seeing that we're next in line, as these storms in Alabama have been strong. They have been exhibiting some signs of rotation. Danielle, are you seeing much from their chat about any damage in Alabama? Okay,
no. In Birmingham, that Shelby County storm definitely has some damage along with it. So that's a little bit south of Birmingham, Alabama. I'm not sure if, here I'll move my radar so you all can see exactly where that is. So Calera has a lot of people that live there, and it's also really near Winterboro. That's where they had a radar confirmed tornado in that area. So what we've been seeing in the Birmingham chat, Chris, is a lot of people chiming in now, emergency managers as well as sheriff's office, a lot of important intel coming in, having reports of possible damage, structure damage. I've been seeing a report of an RV that was turned over, and that's near Calera, which is in Shelby County, Alabama, which is a little bit south of, I'm trying to see if I can get it to pop up, a little bit south of Birmingham here. But it does have a lot of people in that area. You can see Winterboro, that was a part of this tornado warning that was moving through Talladega right now. But as of right now, not seeing any damage reports from that area, but earlier storms. Also, we had some damage reports. This was earlier in this evening around 5 p.m. from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So those storms came in, they were very strong as well. If I back up just a little bit, you can see exactly where the main area of concern is there.
Your elbow, if you want to just show
yes,
Calera.
Perfect.
It's
see it there. Well, I'm covering
it just disappeared again.
Yep.
There you go.
There it is. So this is Calera right here. It was south of Birmingham, south of I-20 there. So you can't really get to it directly from I-20, but it's along I-65 if you are familiar with Alabama at all. I-65 is basically their I-85 here in Atlanta. So this is very serious situation, especially in Alabama. There's a lot of rural area, a lot of people who do live in mobile homes. And so when you have situations like that and you have a storm, well, even though we're not in the overnight hours per se, it's so dark outside. People are still sleeping. It's 10 o'clock now, our time, 9 o'clock their time. So preparing for bed. And this is the area of concern right now throughout Alabama. And just like Chris said, these storms will continue to push as of right now. Looks like they're pushing northward a little bit. So that's something that we do have to keep our eye on to see exactly what the point of entry will be as they get closer to what we call our viewing area. So people who can see us on television, what can they expect?
Hey, Danielle,
yes.
Real quick here, I want to make sure we just had a new warning pop up there. It's that one just south of Clanton, where they are saying that this is a confirmed and extremely dangerous tornado located over Pletcher, or 15 miles south and west of Clanton. So you can kind of point that out. That would be closer to Billingsley, maybe.
Yes.
South and west of Clanton there. So they are saying that is now a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado located over Pletcher, or 15 miles south west of Clanton, moving northeast at 55 miles an hour. And this is also a PDS, or particularly dangerous situation, urging people over in Alabama to take cover now.
Okay, so this is exactly where this is. This is near Maplesville, right along I-65, south of Mineral Springs, Alabama. If I zoom out just a little bit, let's see if I can pick up on some more places. There's 2 polygons here, so that means that they are anticipating this to continue to go northward. So near Mineral Springs, Alabama, still going towards that same way, because this is Talladega Springs, so the next stop will be Talladega. So these storms are continuing to push northward right now. Let's see if I can pull up the velocity and see if we're seeing any rotation in these storms. Still very serious situation here. If I zoom out, I have to turn this lightning off as well. As of right now, these storms are so difficult to see sometimes because they are so far away from our radar sites, and we're not really seeing a lot of velocity. Let's look at their debris finder correlation coefficient to see if we're seeing anything here. When we look at this is a lot of different colors.
Around Maplesville, that could be there, maybe some debris.
Yes, so what Chris is talking about, let me circle this area, is this area near Maplesville. Right in this area. That could definitely be a little bit of debris. So what you look at, you see the different colors. You're looking for a spot that is different from all the others. So what does not belong? And that is the one thing that I can see right now. But once again, because it's so far away from the radar site, sometimes this gets a little bit hard to see and a little bit hard to determine exactly what's going on. But the fact that they said that this is a radar confirmed, particularly dangerous situation is very concerning for the people in Alabama. And this is not their first tornado that they've had this evening. As of right now, it looks like at least maybe 3 or so storms that we could see as of right now that could have at least caused some damage there. Turn this lightning back off once again and do a little bit of investigating here. Chris, are you seeing anything as far as the velocity is concerned over there?
Not really, but here, come back to me here, and I want to show y'all another tool that we have, and that is our shear and our rotation track. So I'm having to zoom in. I know this doesn't show a lot, but this is the way that we're able to kind of detect any rotation within some of these storms here. And this is lining up with the blue and the purple that you see right here is lining up with where that PDS tornado warning is, which again is south and west of Clanton. And the other thing I want to show you here, so this is the shear that we're seeing right now and that potential rotation. Here's a look at some of the tracks, okay? So this is really a history of where we have been detecting rotation, and that pretty much goes along with where we were seeing some of those tornado warnings. So between Birmingham and Montgomery, in this corridor right here from Selma over to Sprott to Calera, also in this area here that was just near Talladega, where you see the blues and light blues there. Those are some of the tracks that we have been seeing where the rotation has been evident, and that's where these tracks are lining up with the history of the tornado warnings that we've had here as everything is moving up toward the north and east. So that's another way, not only through that debris finder there, but we're also looking at these shear tracks. And then this is a look at the latest part of that, again, lining up right where we have that tornado warning that is in effect. I'll put this back into velocity mode. And since it is so far from the radar site, we don't really see the classic red and green, but we do see the differences in colors right here. There's Clanton, this is south and west of that, moving up toward the north and east into another tornado warning. So this one is Chilton County, this one is for Chilton, Coosa, and Shelby. That gets closer to the Birmingham area. So why are we tracking storms in Alabama and zooming into all of these storms in Alabama? Because we want you to know of what is moving our way. Here again is our debris finder, and it doesn't look quite as impressive as it did, but still we have different colors here along this. And what happens is with the radar, normally radar sends out beams, you know, and the radar is spinning, and it sends out beams there along the atmosphere, and those beams bounce off of raindrops, and it comes back to show us where it's raining, not only where it's raining, but how intense the rain is. But the Doppler radar beams can also detect any lofted debris, where if you have strong winds with a rotating thunderstorm there, and it's picking up shingles, it's picking up pine needles, it's picking up debris from the ground, whether it's leaves or it could be parts of a house or anything, as that debris is lofted into the air, our Doppler radar can detect that, and we can often see that as a debris signature or a TVS signature there on radar. So that's what we're looking at, and the Weather Service in Birmingham is saying that this is a confirmed large destructive tornado there, and that debris signature that we have kind of confirms there what we're seeing with that. So again, why are we so concerned about these storms in Alabama, and why are we on this stream here in Atlanta, Georgia and North Georgia talking about these Atlanta storms? The reason is because they're moving our way, and we want you to be ahead of these storms as they move in and before they push into our area, where we see the heavy rain, the lightning, the potential rotation. The next place in line for any potential tornado warning would be Cleburne County and possibly Randolph County. And then after that, we would be watching these counties along the Georgia-Alabama line up toward Rome, down toward Carrollton, down toward the LaGrange area. Those are the counties that would be next in line for any potential tornado warnings. And if Cleburne and Randolph County are included in a warning, we will be breaking into programming on 11Alive to let the folks know there what is going on into eastern Alabama as it's going to be crossing over the state line into West Georgia. And then who's next after that? Then western metro counties, then the metro area, downtown Atlanta, then east of the area. We hope to see some signs of weakening as those storms move on through, especially east of the city. And again, we're thinking that timeline for West Georgia approaching the metro Atlanta area and then to the east of Atlanta would be between 11 and 3 o'clock in the morning. And again, the individual cells or the individual storms, like the last warning that was just issued, that storm was moving at 55 miles an hour. But that's to the north and east. The entire line is pushing a little bit slower than that over to the east. So you have the individual cells that are going this way, but then along this line, it is moving this way. So we do expect that to push into West Georgia soon. And potentially Cleburne and Randolph County, we may have some warnings that are going to be issued there. In fact, let me look at velocity right now just to see if we see anything. I don't see really anything that looks too concerning right now in Cleburne and Randolph. Still watching this warning though that's in Talladega. That expires, well, that's supposed to expire in about 3 minutes. It says 9:15 there, but that's Central Time. That would be 10:15 our time. Okay, so they just issued a new severe thunderstorm warning for Cleburne County and parts of Randolph County. That yellow line that you see there, the yellow polygon, it stops right at the Georgia line. It'll be interesting, Danielle, I don't know if you can see that severe thunderstorm warning that Birmingham just issued, to see if they're saying TOR possible.
Okay.
This is a severe thunderstorm warning here that does include Cleburne, parts of Randolph County, also Clay and Coosa and Talladega County in Alabama. We still have that tornado warning for Talladega. So new severe thunderstorm warning, including Cleburne and Randolph, parts of Randolph. And Danielle's checking to see if they're saying tornado possible with that. They oftentimes will maybe issue a severe thunderstorm warning that they're not as confident about rotation in, and so it's not a slam dunk to issue a tornado warning, but they'll issue a severe thunderstorm warning, but say a tornado is possible at any time to develop out of that. So
they do not.
Okay, so they don't say specifically TOR possible. That's just one of the tags that they put on those, but still we could see rotation developing out of that at any time. So you see that this latest yellow polygon here for Cleburne and Randolph, that stops right here at the Georgia line. So as these storms continue moving up toward the north, and again, this is going to expire at 9:30 Central, which would be 10:30 our time. So really that warning is just in effect for another 15 minutes, right? The severe thunderstorm warning?
Yes. Yeah. I think they replaced that tornado
Okay.
warning with the severe thunderstorm warning.
Okay, that's probably what it is there. So then it would be pushing in to crossing over the state line after that. So whether or not that's going to move quickly enough to get to the West Georgia line, 10:30 or so, if we're going to have any warnings into West Georgia then we will wait and see on that. But still, those two tornado warnings, again, we're telling you about these warnings in Alabama because we want you to know that these are strong storms. These storms have a history of rotation. These storms have a history of producing some damage, and that's what's pushing into West Georgia, and that's going to be most likely within the hour coming into West Georgia here. Again, in Rome, you're seeing some of the lightning strikes, still some heavy rain over in the Rome area, and I don't know, Marcos, if we have, Melissa Nord is in our weather impact tracker. We may put that live shot, if they're dialed up yet, as they're driving out I-20 closer to the Georgia line. I'm sorry? Okay, so if we want to put that shot up of just them driving, that's fine. Yeah, okay, so there we go. We're going to keep that up for a bit just so y'all can see here what they're watching. And I can't tell exactly where they are. They were going out I-20 closer to Carroll County. I see some flashing lights there. Maybe they're going
Chris,
to
we have an
check on
update
something.
in Peachtree City.
Yeah, what you got, Danielle?
Cherokee County emergency manager says that they've had 7 tree wire down calls due to non-thunderstorm wind gusts, and because of that, they've had several brush fires over the last hour. So
okay, that's Cherokee.
Yes.
Okay.
So a lot of the reports in Alabama have basically said the same thing. So before the storm came in, the winds kind of knocked down some trees, which had some power lines or some power poles, and that caused brush fires in those areas. So that's
Okay.
what happened in Cherokee County over the last hour.
That is good to know. And that's just one of the other impacts that we have to watch here. You've got trees that can come down, you have power lines involved, we can have brush fires, and we've got a lot of wind. So if a brush fire develops, that wind is going to spread it very quickly. Remember, we've got the wind advisory that is also in effect here for our area too. I'm kind of keeping an eye on where they are right now. This is our weather impact tracker right now. Melissa Nord is in it. It looks like they're letting somebody out who's trying to get out. We're seeing a lot of flashing lights there in the distance. They were going out I-20 toward Carrollton. So we'll wait and see where that is that they are going, and we'll keep that up there on the bottom of the screen so you can see those areas we're watching. Danielle, it does look like that Talladega warning, a severe thunderstorm, not severe tornado warning, expired on time at 10:15.
Yes.
So I think you're right there that they issued this new severe thunderstorm warning to replace it because that did expire for the tornado warning did expire for the Talladega area as scheduled at 9:15 Central, 10:15 our time. So additional severe thunderstorm warnings back toward Talladega. We still have this tornado warning that was back near Clanton. This was an observed tornado. Do you have some new info, Danielle?
Yeah, we should just probably switch that back to the roam camera. What happened is there's a crash on I-20, so they're trying to get to I-20, and that is actually the fair.
Okay. So that is good to know. So Marcos, if we could just put that back on remote 59 then, because they are trying to, there was a crash on I-20, they're trying to get around that. That's why there's a lot of traffic there. So here's maybe remote 58. I'm sorry, did I say 59? So that is Blue Ridge that you're seeing right there. Rain still coming down in the Blue Ridge area. We'll put the roam camera. There we go. The roam camera is back up here where we have been seeing a lot of lightning strikes coming up there within that system in eastern Alabama, moving into western Georgia. So Danielle, what is next now is these storms in Alabama that, again, the tornado warning in Talladega expired. We don't see that rotation as evident there. This one, south of Sylacauga and near Clanton, that is the one that is, or was, and maybe still is, a confirmed tornado moving to the north and east. So what we're waiting for next is we have the severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for Cleburne County and Randolph County at any time in this cluster. These storms have had a history of producing tornadoes and producing damage. So now, this is the part that we've been waiting for. This is the part that we have been talking about for days that is about to cross over from Alabama into West Georgia. And then, so the counties that we're watching next will be Floyd County, Polk County, Haralson County, Carroll, Heard, and Troup counties, all right? As these storms move in, as to whether or not they are going to have severe thunderstorm warnings or whether or not they are going to have any tornado warnings with that, because this storm, as we mentioned, has a history of producing some rotation and also producing some damage. So West Georgia is next in line for those storms to be moving in. The other thing we're watching is that tornado watch that is in effect, that does include the metro Atlanta area. This is going to be in effect until 4 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. We think after 4, those storms will be over to the east of us. We will wait and see if the National Weather Service extends the watch to include Athens or the Eatonton area near Lake Oconee, or Macon. Macon right now, not in the tornado watch, but as those storms move in, we will watch to see if the Weather Service and the Storm Prediction Center is going to expand that watch or issue a, a new watch to include these counties in East Georgia. And that's all going to depend on if we see any more weakening during the overnight hours. And maybe they may not issue a new tornado watch, but they might issue a severe thunderstorm watch, possibly. Or they could hold on to a tornado watch as those storms move through. It all depends on the history or the intensity of those storms as they move through the city of Atlanta and push over to the east of the Atlanta area too. Danielle and I were also talking about, this was a change that just came in a little while ago. We had this for you right as it was coming out. The Storm Prediction Center has updated. This is what we call our convective outlook. You see us showing this on the air a lot. Let me do one thing to this before I zoom in a little bit tighter. I want to take out this one point right there. And then we'll zoom in. It'll zoom in a little bit smoother here. As you'll notice here that we no longer have a level 5 of 5 risk in Alabama. That is what made headlines yesterday and this morning, that Alabama and Mississippi had a level 5 of 5 risk. That is a high risk for tornadoes. That is a recipe for a tornado outbreak. Mississippi and Alabama did have a lot of strong storms. They did have tornadoes there, and now it is no longer a level 5 of 5 risk, but it is still a strong level 4 of 5 risk. That is this color that you see right here that goes down to the Florida Panhandle, South Alabama near Mobile, stretches up through areas now from Birmingham to Montgomery. So what happened is they took out the level 5, and they're also kind of shrinking the level 4 risk a little bit too. We'll zoom in closer to Georgia because I want you to see West Georgia is still included in this level 4 risk. So what's happening as these storms move through, they're shrinking that level 4 a little bit as the storms are coming in from west to east, because west of Birmingham, they're no longer having storms there. They're no longer having severe weather. Things are going to be improving for Birmingham now, but it's this part right here where the atmosphere is ripe for severe storms to happen. That's where they are occurring now in Alabama, and many of these could hold together here into West Georgia, west of the metro area, and all down to the south toward LaGrange, up toward the Rome area, as these storms move in this direction here, potentially holding together, crossing over the Georgia state line, and then getting into Atlanta. The severe weather threat doesn't go away, but it does come down to a level 3 risk for some storms there, and then a level 2 risk over into eastern Georgia near Augusta, over into Greenville, and then a level 1 in Columbia. Now, South Carolina and North Carolina tomorrow we'll see those risk levels as the storms continue to move into their area, and as they see daytime heating tomorrow ahead of these storms may ramp up again over to the east of us into the Carolinas. So those are just some of the subtle changes that we have been seeing with these outlooks and the severe weather threats. Level 5 of 5 gone in Alabama and in Mississippi, but it's still level 4, and that level 4 still extends over into parts of West Georgia. So that's why we are streaming with you continuously right now, and we will be breaking into programming on 11Alive if any of those tornado warnings, or if we are seeing any signs of rotation exhibited on radar. We'll break into programming on 11Alive for that too. We are seeing, go ahead, Danielle.
On what's happening in Alabama, because I think it's very important while you were going through that. Also, if you look exactly where the storms are set up right now, it's literally in that level 4. So even though they are not in a level 5 anymore, they're still in a level 4, and you can see that they still have several tornado warnings. So that's very important to note. They also just issued a flash flood warning, and that is including Anniston, Alabama, Talladega, Alabama, all of these places that have been in these tornado warnings. They just issued that maybe 5 minutes ago. Also, now we're starting to get reports of damage coming in from that particularly dangerous situation that was in near Maplesville in Alabama, and I zoomed in right there. So as of right now, they're not really in the main threat anymore. However, still very, very serious there. Maplesville, Alabama, starting to see some unconfirmed reports of maybe some damage in that area. That's just another place we have to keep our eye on. I'm going to zoom back out just a little bit. That secondary tornado warning still in effect right now, and that's still something that we'll have to keep our eye on. But I think I wanted to show you all exactly what our storm energy is at this time, because even though, you know, right now it's 10:25 and you're probably thinking, okay, where are the storms? If you remember, our timing graphic showed around 11 p.m. and this tornado environment graphic is very, very important, because as you can see exactly where that level 5 was today, where the level 4 is developing right now, that's where the strongest of the tornado environment is located. Now, if we continue to progress this graphic just a little bit, we start to lose some of that strong tornado environment as well. So around 11:30 p.m., that's when we're going to start to see these storms on the move. Right now, they just issued that flash flood warning in Talladega, and that's because those storms have been training over the same place over and over and over again. When they start to move into some of this untapped territory, that's when we're going to start to see those winds really picking up again, and that's going to increase our tornado environment once again. Now, that pink holds on until around midnight, but in North Georgia, unfortunately, there's still that chance for you all to see some of those stronger storms. Even in West Georgia, near LaGrange, as we continue to put this in motion just a little bit, we start to see some of that red turning into brown. So that shows you that the tornado environment is weakening just a little bit, but it's not gone. This is at 1 a.m. and you can see Metro Atlanta encompassed in that tornado environment. So It's on the lower end, but that doesn't mean that it's at a 0. What you want to see is this. This is around 5:30 in the morning, and you can see that at that point, that's when you can kind of take a breath of fresh air, unless you're in Eatonton, where some of those storms still lingering around. So right now, it looks like all of our maps, all of the data that we've been going through over the last few hours are literally adding up. So you can see exactly where that storm is right now, the strongest portion of the storm moving through Alabama still, and we're starting to see some flooding possibilities from this storm system, and the tornado possibility is continuing, and now we're starting to hear reports of damage from these storms as well. So there's a lot of stuff that's happening as of right now. Even close to Oxford, Alabama, now they're saying that there's some power outages, and Oxford is near Anniston. So if I zoom in just a little bit, that's really close to our state line and some of our counties as well. So we have to keep our eye on it. I went to Jacksonville State, so I'm very familiar with this area here, and they are also playing in Huntsville. Their game was delayed, their championship game, the men's basketball team, because of flooding in the gym. So there's a lot of stuff going on tonight with this storm system, and it's causing a lot of problems, and we want to make sure that everyone is aware that you have to watch the history of these storms. It's not just about coming on TV when there is that warning issued. We have to watch these storms, and what you're seeing right now is kind of a behind the scenes moment of how we look at these storms and we calculate what kind of storm threat should you see. We watch these storms as they develop and as they approach, and we kind of talk you through it. We talk to each other to get kind of to the bottom of what can people expect. When should these storms arrive? And I think in the next hour or so, we're going to start to see these storms really pushing towards the east, and that's when our winds are going to really increase here in Metro Atlanta, Chris.
And Danielle, we just got an interesting, I was just monitoring this stuff back into Alabama, and they just issued a, I'm going to read it here, a airport weather warning for Montgomery Regional Airport in Alabama, as they're watching strong gusty winds persisting even outside of the storms there. And as storms are moving through, wind gusts greater or equal to 35 knots, and that would be higher mile-per-hour winds there. Thunderstorms with cloud-to-ground lightning moving across the Montgomery Regional Airport, which is showing the potential for those strong winds there. So it's an airport weather warning in Montgomery for what's going on there with those storms as they move over to the north and to the east. Now, I don't know that Hartsfield would have to issue one of those later, but again, that is just showing us the intensity of these storms that are moving through. I want to take you up to Rome right now. What you're seeing here at the bottom of the screen, this is our Rome tower cam. We've seen a good coverage of really heavy rain coming down in Rome for a while. We're also seeing those flashes of lightning here in that Rome tower cam too, as those storms are moving in, and Rome is about to get hit harder. Even though they've already had some good rain coming through, look at this. There's a band of really heavy rain, excuse me, just to the west of Rome, and that camera here is looking toward the west too. So even though we have rain and strong winds in Rome right now, it is about to get heavier, as this right here is going to be pushing into Rome in just a little bit. And that is a band of really heavy rain that is going to be coming out of Alabama. It's already moved through center Alabama, moving into parts of western Floyd County right now. And that's going to be hitting Rome in just a little bit. And then all of these storms that Danielle and I have been talking about, we have been streaming with you. We were streaming at 8 o'clock. We did a stream at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and then we've been on with you streaming since 9 o'clock tonight. So we've been on for an hour and a half tracking these storms moving in, and most of them have been back into Alabama. But now, as we've been tracking these, we've been streaming because we want to give you an early heads up before the storms move into Georgia. They are knocking on the door of Georgia right now. So all that we've been talking about this week with a severe weather threat happening Saturday night, overnight into early on Sunday, this is the part that we're talking about right here that is about to cross over the line, where you see this heavy rain, severe thunderstorms in Cleburne County, parts of Randolph County with that severe thunderstorm warning right here. Go back through Anniston. That's also part of a severe thunderstorm warning. Winterboro is in a flash flood warning. We have a tornado warning there between just north of Clanton, west of Alexander City. So it is this part of that system that is the most intense right now, where we have those storms that have heavy rain with them, strong winds. These storms have also been giving us signs of some damage with them as well, and we have also had some rotation too. So the interesting thing is going to be, how are they going to hold together as they cross over the Georgia line? West Georgia is still in that level 4 risk for severe storms, but once we get over to the West Metro area and then toward Atlanta, that's where it changes from a level 4 to a level 5 risk. There have just been some slight refinements in those risk areas, and we told you earlier that the level 5 of 5 risk is no longer in Alabama. We had that yesterday for today. Much of Alabama and Mississippi were in that level 5 of 5 risk earlier today in the heat of the day. Now that we're in the evening hours and going into overnight, we're losing some of that heating. So the Storm Prediction Center took out the level 5. Alabama is now in level 4, but also West Georgia holds into that level 4 too. So as you can see, all right, look at this. Here's the state line. We have this heavy rain coming out of Randolph and Cleburne County. And that is what has prompted a severe thunderstorm warning. I really expect at any time, I'm looking here at the Peachtree City, I'm really expecting at any time that our National Weather Service office in Peachtree City, south of Atlanta, will most likely issue severe thunderstorm warnings for those counties in West Georgia, most likely into maybe southern Floyd, Polk County, and Haralson County. I expect that you will be in a severe thunderstorm warning, maybe parts of Carroll County there. These counties right along the Georgia-Alabama line that lines up with this mass of storms that are moving up toward the north and east. So I really think that is what is next in line. If they're detecting any rotation, they would then issue a tornado warning with that. Let me look here at our velocity mode. Let me take the lightning off, and I'm not really seeing anything that looks too concerning right there. Danielle, I know you've been keeping an eye on this too. I'm seeing some bowing in some of those structures of the wind there between Anniston and Fruithurst. That's indicating some really strong winds. But I don't really see much that looks overly concerning about any rotation. But that doesn't mean that we couldn't see some rotation developing there as it moves over into the Georgia line. So you're next in West Georgia for the potential for severe thunderstorm warnings, at least we think there in West Georgia. And then we'll also be watching this just to see if any rotation develops out of that, and if they will issue any severe thunderstorm warnings. It looks like a new tornado warning there between Clanton and Alexander City.
Yes, they just issued it in Coosa County, Alabama.
Okay, and is that saying anything? Are you able to see if that's confirmed or not?
It's not confirmed.
Okay, so that is a Doppler radar indicated rotation that is between Clanton and Alexander City. So really, there are two polygons overlapping each other here. Both of these is where we've had a history of some rotation there. So there's another tornado warning there. Again,
Chris, they just updated it and said that it is radar confirmed.
Okay, radar confirmed. Okay, so we may have some debris in that. Let me look at the correlation coefficient here in our debris tracker.
And while you do that,
Yeah.
I will also mention that there's starting to be some power outages across Metro Atlanta, some in Cobb County. In fact, I think that there were, 8,000 people without power in Cobb County right now. Excuse me, 3,000 people without power right now in Cobb County.
And that's important to note, because that's even before the storms come in. Danielle was telling you, we were telling you last night on the air about a wind advisory. Nicole was telling you about that this morning. Danielle was telling us about it streaming at 6 o'clock tonight about the wind advisory. And those are the strong winds that are developing even ahead of the storms. And those winds strong enough to cause some power outages. So Cobb County, around 3,000 power outages Danielle is mentioning there. I expect that we're going to see some more, because as these storms roll in, we are seeing some additional wind gusts with them that could bring down some trees. We also have a lot of lightning. I'm going to put the lightning back on here so you can see that area of lightning. And I'm going to do a lightning count on this part back in Alabama. I'm going to do the whole query here for Alabama, including Georgia, or the part that has the storms here, about 1,300 lightning strikes. Now, if you were with us earlier, we were showing about 1,940, I believe. It was close to 2,000 lightning strikes in a 15-minute period in this same area. Now it's 1,300. Yes, that is a lot, but the lightning count is lower than what we had earlier. And Danielle and I often look at these lightning count numbers. If they're trending down, that may be a signal that the storms are weakening somewhat, but it's still a lot of lightning. It's just showing us a signal that maybe these storms aren't quite as strong as they were a little bit earlier. Now, we'll watch this and maybe that lightning count will come back up. As I'm talking about the lightning count, you can see some of those flashes of lightning there over my shoulder here in Floyd County, as we're still seeing some lightning coming in to the Floyd County area. I'm going to zoom back in a little bit tighter to Floyd, if I can get in there. And that lightning here as part of those large clusters. Okay, so here's Rome. Our camera is looking to the west, so this is the lightning that we're seeing in that band of heavy rain that is moving into western Floyd and into the southwestern parts of Chattooga County here. So we've got a good bit of lightning with that. And then look out I-20. That's where Melissa Nord is in our weather impact tracker right now with her photographer. They're headed out I-20 toward the Carrollton area. When we're able to put their shot up in just a little bit, we're going to be able to see all of the lightning right here. Okay, so I just told in my ear that our weather impact tracker just passed through Douglasville. They got delayed by some sort of traffic that was on I-20. They had to go around it. So there's the 11Alive weather impact tracker right here along I-20. Okay, so there you see some of that lightning. Let's just keep that there, Marco, so we can kind of see them as they are eventually going to be running into some rain here in just a little bit too. But we've got that lightning that is just now crossing over the state line here from Alabama, Cleburne and Randolph County, crossing over here into these areas of Polk County and Carroll County. See that right there? In fact, let me get it a little bit tighter to that. That is that cluster of very heavy rain. And in fact, I'm going to do a lightning count just on this. That is from Talladega down toward Roanoke, which is south of Wadowee, and kind of bring it over toward Douglasville. 261 lightning strikes, all right? So this is the part of the storm right now that is crossing over the line into West Georgia, and it has 261 lightning strikes. Still, the bulk of that is back in Alabama, but we do have that severe thunderstorm warning for Cleburne County and Randolph County. Danielle, it's going to be interesting to see. Now that this is crossing over the state line, I would expect that our weather service would at least issue a severe thunderstorm warning, but I guess they're holding off on that. I think that's what is going to be next, the next thing that we see. I wouldn't be surprised with really in the next few minutes if they issue a yellow polygon that you're going to see showing up behind us here for Cleburne, Polk County, maybe over into Paulding, maybe into Douglas County as these storms are moving in. Are you getting indication of that? That's just what I think would be coming next.
It should be. We're starting to see reports that in Carroll County, within the city of Temple, there are multiple trees down. So the winds are increasing along I-20 right now. So I would assume that there should be at least a severe thunderstorm warning coming out very, very shortly.
Okay, I really think that's going to be coming next as this is crossing the state line. So at least a severe thunderstorm warning. And again, we have seen rotation back in Talladega. That rotation that we had in Talladega a little bit earlier has kind of moved up this way and it has weakened. We haven't seen any additional tornado warnings with that. They did issue, though, in place of a new tornado warning, they did issue a severe thunderstorm warning there. But now I really think, and we're waiting from the National Weather Service here, I really will not be surprised if we have a severe thunderstorm warning issued for most likely Polk County, maybe southern Floyd, maybe Haralson County, maybe parts of Douglas County as this heavy rain is moving in. And Danielle just said that they are mentioning where we have some trees down already near Bremen and near Carrollton. with this line that's moving in. So the winds are already very strong there and continuing. They're only going to get stronger. Still also monitoring these tornado warnings here south of Birmingham. These are the ones near Clanton a little bit earlier here. These warnings holding together as we are seeing rotation within that storm that has prompted a tornado warning. We will see if that rotation holds together as it gets closer to West Georgia. And we've been saying this a couple of times here. That's not the only rotation we can see. Out of this entire area of very heavy rain and strong storms, any of those storms could exhibit rotation at any time. It's not just this. That's just where the rotation is now. But we could see any part of this exhibit some rotation at any time where we could see some tornado warnings that could be issued here. You have some new info?
Yes, they want for us to reset.
Okay, so coming up, do they want us to do that now or in about 10 minutes? Or?
At least 10:50.
Okay, so in a few minutes, if we don't have any active warnings, we're going to reset so we can get everything ready for our 11 o'clock show. But if we do have any tornado warnings, of course, we're just going to keep going on. We'll actually be on the air on 11Alive. So in just a few moments, we're going to kind of stop our coverage here. We'll keep some maps going for you here streaming. And we will then do our 11 o'clock newscast, which is going to be mainly weather during that newscast. And we will then continue our coverage at 11:30 on NBC. Saturday Night Live is a rerun tonight, so if we have to cover up Saturday Night Live, you'll still be able to see that on Peacock or on demand or something because it is a rerun. But we also know that we need to get a lot of this weather information out, and we will be doing that through the nighttime hours as we're tracking these storms that are moving through. Again, this is our 11Alive weather impact tracker headed out I-20 west. They just went through the Douglasville area. They will be then going through Villa Rica in just a little bit, and they are going to be pretty much moving into, so if they just went through Douglasville, all right, so here's the track of where they are going. So there's the weather impact tracker. They had just moved through Douglasville, so they're about to push through Villa Rica here and then get just to the north of Carrollton in just a little bit. And about the time of our 11 o'clock show, they're going to be driving into that heaviest rain part of that system. And I really would not be surprised if we at least have a severe thunderstorm warning here within that as those storms are moving through Alabama. I'm just curious to see if the Weather Service is saying anything about that. We do have, as Danielle said earlier, multiple trees down near Highway 113 and 78 in Carroll County in the city of Temple. Let me zoom in close to that. The Temple area there in Carroll County. Let's see if that Temple area comes up. Temple is closer to the western part of that, so it's not showing up here on the map. It says
Highway 113 and Highway 78.
Highway 113 and 78. So the heavier rain is just now about to move into Carrollton. So we have some damage in Temple, and that may be just from winds ahead of these storms. And as these storms move in, the wind is going to start ramping up pretty quickly here. So even though without a severe thunderstorm warning, and even though without a strong storm, we have been seeing reports ahead of these storms of the wind that is strong enough to bring down some trees and to cause some power outages there as well. So that's the heaviest rain coming through there. There's the flood warning, the green polygon that you see in Alabama, and still this tornado warning. Okay, they just refined this one right here, kind of shrunk it up a little bit. I know it's kind of hard to see with the red on top of the red, but this is a tornado warning still between Sylacauga and Alexander City. Still the potential for some rotation there. In fact, let me put it in velocity mode again and see if we can detect anything. It's been kind of hard to see it since it's far away from our radar, but really two tornado warnings there. One for Coosa County, that smaller one expires at 10 o'clock Central or 11 o'clock our time. The other part of Coosa County expires at 11:15 our time, 10:15 Alabama time.
I found Temple
on
the map. It is I guess, west of Villa Rica. And
there, right there at the top,
Yep,
yes.
there it
So
is.
those storms then were right there, north of I-20.
Yep.
All right, there's Temple. I'm sorry, I was looking in the wrong spot for that. I should know. Right along I-20, here's Villa Rica, Temple, and then there's Bremen, Carrollton here. So we have that heavy rain that's moving through there. So that wind that was causing the power outages, that was ahead of the storms, all right? Not during one of the storms. That was ahead of the storm with some trees down causing the power outages there too. Again, live look right now, weather impact tracker out I-20 going from, they've already passed through Douglasville. I'm trying to see what that sign says. Carrollton, Villa Rica is the next exit that they're under. So they are in this area right here. All right, so they're beginning. So they're going this way out I-20. They just went to the Carrollton Villa Rica exit here. There's Carrollton, there's Villa Rica. So, oh wow, did you see that lightning?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're moving into these stronger storms right now where the rain, it looks like some light rain I'm maybe beginning to see there on the windshield. They're just now moving into this light rain.
Mm-hmm.
You see all the lightning there too. They're about to get into this more moderate and heavy rain, pushing into West Georgia now. And what we're waiting for is just to see if the National Weather Service is going to issue a severe thunderstorm warning. So what we're going to do right now, it's 10:48. We're going to go ahead and come down on streaming. If y'all can hear us in there, Addie and also Marcos will come down. We're going to have our people put our radar maps back up for you. So in this 10-minute period between now and our newscast at 11 o'clock, we'll be streaming that here on 11Alive Plus. Plus, we're going to have our newscast on 11Alive 2. We will have that for you. We're going to reset right now to get ready for that newscast. If in this next 10 minutes, if the National Weather Service issues a tornado warning or anything, we're going to break in immediately. We're not going to wait until 11 o'clock tonight to do that. We will break in immediately. If the National Weather Service issues a tornado warning in West Georgia, we'll break in. Don't be surprised if we see a severe thunderstorm warning coming out of that. Stay with us. We're going to have much more for you coming up at the top of the hour here on 11Alive Plus streaming, as well as on TV on 11Alive. Stay with us here with the 11Alive Weather Impact Team as we track these storms with you, and we're with you until the storms move through, and that's probably going to be lasting through those overnight hours.
11Alive News at 11 p.m. starts now.
Well, thanks for joining us at 11. I'm Angelina Salcido. Strong, deadly storms now moving in. Governor Brian Kemp issuing a state of emergency in preparation for those storms. We are keeping you safe and informed tonight with our team coverage, our weather team. Let's start off with Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb. And Chris, an alert just issued just minutes ago.
Yeah, this is in West Georgia, a new severe thunderstorm warning in effect. That includes multiple counties in West Georgia. This is the system that we have been talking about all week, moving in Saturday night, overnight into early on Sunday, and we're now seeing that moving in. Here you can see in Atlanta, we do not have any storms here yet. We have had some gusty winds though ahead of those storms, and even before the storms get here, we have seen some sporadic power outages in the metro Atlanta area just due to those winds. As you go over though into West Georgia, we have this area of very heavy rain right now coming in from Alabama. Not only is this heavy rain, but we have strong winds with this too, and even the potential for some hail in association with this. This storm is now prompting a severe thunderstorm warning again for multiple counties. It goes down to Heard County, parts of Coweta County, Carroll County, Douglas County, a little bit of South Fulton right here. It includes western Cobb County, also Paulding County, Haralson County, Polk County, parts of Floyd County, also up into areas of Bartow County. Numerous counties in this one severe thunderstorm warning as this cluster of rain moves in. This cluster of rain has had a history of producing damage back into Alabama, and we have had some tornado warnings back in Alabama also from that cluster of storms as they have been moving in from the Alabama area. I'll widen out a little bit more, and you can see how there is additional rain in Alabama stretching south and west of us with additional severe thunderstorm warnings now, but this is the part of the storm that has been producing some rotation, and that's what's going to be crossing over the state line in just a little bit. So this is just the beginning. We're going to see it in West Georgia now, and then approaching the Atlanta area within the next hour to two. So really between now and 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning is when Atlanta is going to be feeling these storms moving through with damaging winds and still that potential for some rotation. Danielle Moss joins us right now. And Danielle, we have been watching these storms. We have been streaming for hours here on 11Alive Plus, and we have that tornado watch that does include the metro Atlanta area.
Exactly, and that's an update from when I was on at 6 p.m. If you're watching us on 11Alive Plus, this is our new tornado watch. It is in effect until 4 a.m. Sunday. It does include Metro Atlanta, West Georgia, and most of North Georgia as well. This is also a new update. This is our new severe weather outlook. You can see they've trimmed back that level 5 storm risk, but that does not mean that people should let their guard down, because if we take a zoom in, that level 4 area is where those tornado warnings are lying right now that Chris was just talking about. In fact, most of Metro Atlanta and East Georgia in a level 3 and a level 2 for strong to severe weather. High winds are definitely our main concern with this system. We're already seeing trees down. We're already seeing multiple reports of power outages because it's so dry ahead of that front. Some of these trees are falling. Some of the power poles are falling as well. And that is actually sparking some brush fires. With the winds being this high until 5 a.m. tomorrow morning, that is going to continue to increase a fire risk as well. So there's multiple things that we're keeping our eye on, and strong winds top of concern. Tornadoes, unfortunately, cannot be ruled out. We've been watching this history of this storm system as it develops, and it has been creating tornadoes, confirmed tornadoes, and damages into Alabama. As we time it out for you, 2 a.m. here in Metro Atlanta, that's when the strongest part of the storm system will be arriving. This system will then continue on. It looks like some of that rain will back off just a little bit. And in fact, some of the storm winds will be increasing. Like I said, the storm winds are one of our main concerns with this system. By 6, 7 a.m., we will be done with this rain event into Metro Atlanta and cross most of Georgia. But tonight, make sure you have multiple ways to get communications and warnings just in case you lose power. And Chris, we're already seeing a lot of trees down across the area.
And we're just going to see that line of storms move into the metro area pretty soon. I want to take you out now to our weather impact tracker. Right now, meteorologist Melissa Nord is in that tracker. Melissa is in this area right here. She has been driving with her photographer into this line of storms. Melissa, I know you're experiencing that heavy rain, and I'm even seeing some of the lightning flashes there in your shot.
Well, before we had the rain, we were driving west along I-20 and we had so much vivid lightning in the sky. And as Danielle was mentioning, a couple of house fires across West Georgia because of possible lightning strikes. But I want to show you what we're seeing right now in Temple. This is along Highway 113 and 78 at Park Circle. And that in front of us is a tree, one of two trees that fell over. They were across the roadway, but very quickly responders got here. They chopped that tree up so that the roadway no longer is blocked, but you can see that. Jojo, we're going to go ahead and take a left out of here, drive back towards I-20. We're in Carroll County, just north of I-20 in Temple. And as you were mentioning, Chris, it is that lightning which has been so vivid, incredibly vivid and dangerous to be outside. And that rain is picked up, but the trees that were down that I was showing you, that was not from this severe thunderstorm warning. That was just from the strong ambient winds in advance of the storm. So trees could come down regardless of being in a severe thunderstorm warning or not. We're about to head west along I-20, punch that severe thunderstorm, and we're going to give you more shots here coming up in about 10 minutes. Chris?
All right, Melissa, and speaking of those lightning strikes there, we have the lightning that has been causing some power outages, as you can see in our area. Angelina has more on that.
Yeah, we continue to see those power outages, Chris, tonight. Most of them happening in Cobb and Fulton County, getting the hardest hit here. At least 8,000 people affected without power right now. We're going to keep checking in on those numbers. Now, as severe weather approaches, people across the metro are bracing for this storm. The city of Atlanta and Georgia Power say they are ready for whatever. Flooded roads, down power lines and trees, crashing onto homes. Just some of the damage that we have seen from recent storms. Georgia Power is also preparing for potential outages.
If there is a major impact in one area, more crews will go there to make sure that we get the most number of people restored to power first.
If you see a fallen tree or flooding, it is not an emergency. Mayor Dickens says to make sure that you call 311, not 911, to keep emergency lines clear. Now, we are getting a look at what these storms have already left behind. The National Weather Service reported multiple tornadoes on the ground in southern Mississippi. The storm tossing debris more than 25,000 feet into the air. Mississippi's governor says at least 6 people have died and at least 32 people have died because of storms in the past 2 days. As we head to the break, a live look over Atlanta now. We'll get you another update on the forecast after the break.
11Alive. Solutions that help us not just survive, but thrive. Solutions that help make our daily commutes easier and communities safer. Because we believe in Atlanta and its bright future. See solutions to make your life better on 11Alive News.
We know how much weather impacts your life, but some days are worse than others. 11Alive weather impact alerts get you ready for all of it.
Very heavy rain out there right now.
When weather threatens to mess up your plans or even threatens your safety, 11Alive News will immediately issue a weather impact alert, warning you about what's coming, the impact, and how you need to prepare.
As folks are making their plans, you need to know this, folks.
Weather impacts all of us. Stay ahead of Metro Atlanta's changing conditions with the 11Alive Weather Impact Team on 11Alive News and 11Alive.
The 11Alive Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
We have a flood watch that's in effect.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene. Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. 11Alive Plus, complete coverage of your local news, weather, and more. When news breaks, watch 11Alive Plus. See the story as it's happening. Be on the scene faster than ever before. Live updates from the team you trust. Stream breaking news on 11Alive Plus. Download free on your TV now.
Atlanta, we see you grinding it out every day to keep your family safe, your bills paid, and your community strong. At 11Alive News, we get it, and we're here to help.
These are the Atlanta zip codes with the highest car insurance rates.
Reporting on real issues.
We uncovered millions of dollars in unused rental assistance.
Sharing real solutions.
After our investigation aired, GDOT took action to make Georgia roads safer.
For solutions that make your life better, watch 11Alive News.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with 11Alive and 11Alive Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage with 11Alive and 11Alive Plus.
When the big story hits Atlanta,
A major water main break has left people with low water flow.
it's on 11Alive Plus. Watch the 24/7 stream to see what's going on, live as it happens. Local news when you want it. Weather impact alerts, we got you covered.
I want you to be aware of really cold air.
From wait what moments to oh no emergencies. Search 11Alive on your Roku, Fire, or Apple TV. Stream free on 11Alive Plus.
We love Atlanta.
I love the activity, the life, the parks, the nightlife, the people.
It's home.
That's why we're dedicated to making it the best it can be. Finding solutions that affect us all. Solutions that help us not just survive, but thrive. Solutions that help make our daily commutes easier and communities safer. Because we believe in Atlanta and its bright future. See solutions to make your life better on 11Alive News.
We know how much weather impacts your life, but some days are worse than others. 11Alive weather impact alerts get you ready for...
Taking a live look over Atlanta, we are tracking a line of strong storms. We are seeing lots of lightning and sheets of rain in some parts of West Georgia right now. Meteorologist Melissa Nord is in the 11Alive weather impact tracker tonight. Melissa, we saw some rain as you were driving. How's it looking outside where you are right now?
Well, man, we are driving west along I-20 right now. We are now coming up from Carroll County in towards Bremen. And I'll tell you what, the winds have been really intense picking up. We're in a lull from the rain. We're about to punch the leading edge of that stronger wind gust, very strong straight line wind gusts. But the lightning has been something we have been seeing so much of. Look at those big flashes in the sky. I mean, this is our dash camera out of the front. I think it's the best vantage point. We're driving west in towards the storm. Over on my right side, that is one of the truck stops right there, the way station. And you just see vivid flashes of lightning in the sky, and within the next 5 minutes or so, we're going to come up to the strongest winds. So we will check back in with you as we see those stronger wind gusts picking up. We showed you earlier one tree down back to our west in Temple, and Chris, we're under a severe thunderstorm warning in this location as that storm advances across the state line into West Georgia.
All right, Melissa. Thank you. Thank you so much here, Melissa, for that report. Just seeing all those flashes of lightning, really evident of just the intensity of these storms right now. Here in Atlanta, we still don't have any heavy rain here, but it is knocking on the door. We are dry in Atlanta, but look over into West Cobb, into Douglas and South Fulton. We're beginning to see that lighter rain that's moving in. So in Atlanta, at least the lighter rain is going to be here in a moment. Then that heavier rain is still over to the west, where Melissa is right now in our weather impact tracker. So out in Douglas County, it's relatively light, and then it gets heavier into Carroll County, also into Haralson County and Polk County. Now this yellow polygon here is the latest severe thunderstorm warning that we have in effect as that heaviest rain passes from Alabama over into parts of West Georgia. Again, that heaviest rain here. So we have that warning that includes Heard County, also parts of Coweta, South Fulton, Carroll, also Douglas into Haralson County, then north of I-20 there into Paulding, West Cobb, Bartow County, Southern Floyd, also there into Polk County. This is going to be in effect for the next little while. We'll be watching not only the strong winds and heavy rain with this, but this storm also has a history of producing damage back in Alabama and rotation back in Alabama too. So at any time, even though it's not a tornado warning right now, at any time we could see some rotation develop. developing out of that, and a tornado warning could potentially be issued. There are additional severe thunderstorm warnings back into Alabama, but this entire cluster of rain and storms that we've been seeing here has that history of the damage and other tornado warnings too. So as this comes into West Georgia, we could see some tornado warnings. We're watching this too, approaching the Atlanta area. We will be next in line after this moves through those spots in West Georgia. Quickly, I want to put the lightning on there because Melissa was showing us all the lightning in association with that. I'm going to just do a query there from western Alabama, south of Montgomery, over towards the Atlanta area. Almost 1,000 lightning strikes just in 15 minutes. So that is another threat that we have, with lightning striking trees, potentially starting fires, and additional power outages from lightning too. Danielle, it's just the beginning of a busy night that we have in store for us. Let's hope that these stay as severe thunderstorm warnings, but we're standing by for any tornado warnings too.
Exactly. You're right. This is just the beginning of it. And while we were watching these storms progress through Alabama, one of the things that I noted was some of those lightning fires, some of the fires that were started by some sparks off some brush. And now we're starting to see that here. Multiple reports of ongoing fires right now in Douglas County because of the potential of lightning. Here's a live look into the Blue Ridge Mountains right now. Still very wet. We were watching. There was a tornado warning earlier this evening for Gilmer and Fannin County. And as you can see, they have not scaled back any of our counties that are in this tornado watch. And if you are in the tornado watch, you need to be vigilant at least until 5 a.m. I say 5 a.m. because if we get a lot of rainfall in the next few hours, if we have that high wind gust, that could cause some trees to come down. So make sure that you are weather aware until that time period. Here's a look at our severe weather outlook. Once again, they have scaled it back just a little bit. We are still in that level 4, and those strong storms are on the way. Once again, just the beginning of the event. So we are still looking to see some really high winds, which could spawn some tornadoes and even some heavy rainfall. What's happening with this system as well, we call it training. What does that mean? That means that the same areas are getting hit with a lot of rainfall over and over and over again, and the system just isn't moving very much. Because of that, as of right now, we're only in a flood watch, and that's for northwest Georgia. Not all of us in a flood watch. Our bigger concern will be that wind advisory that's in effect until 5 a.m. Sunday, and that's for wind gusts up to